Welcome back. So here we are now. We're going to really dive deep into some of the data that was just in the middle of that last graph. Now this is just a few days worth of information. On the last graph it was the whole year put together in one, so it was really hard to see what I'm about to show you here. But when we zoom in and we look at the data outside of the season, and when we see information that is causing the soil structure to recharge, regenerate itself to get ready for another cropping season, that information I'm learning is absolutely priceless. Let's dive into this data and I'll show you what I mean. Now, in this very first event, this was a rain event that took place here about, late February. So this was kind of one of those, rain, snowy mix type things. Well, it got moisture down to 8 inches and 12 inches, and then it slowly drained moisture down into that 20-inch root zone. Now, look at that slow increase of moisture right there at 20 inches. That's priceless, my friends, just to see that data. That's a wetting up event. Now, I'm going to show you a picture of a wetting up event that comes from a video that David Sloan did about how dry soil wets up. And you can see in the ring around that pot that there is a wetting front. And there's a front there that starts to wet up before the soil gets fully at capacity, before it hits full capacity. That wetting front is priceless. You want to be able to see a wetting front every time you irrigate at some level in the profile. Why? Because it indicates that you've removed enough moisture from the profile that you can see another wetting front starting to happen. You want to be able to see these wetting fronts on occasion. It's just going to depend on where in the profile you want to see a wetting front. Okay? Now, with that wetting front that's starting to happen here, look at what happens with our next irrigation event, or next rain event. Right here on about February 21st, 22nd, we get another rain event and it increases at 20 inches really quickly. Why? Because the soil was already wetting up. That wetting front was starting to take place. Therefore, the moisture moved down through that profile pretty quickly with that rain event. But look what started to happen at 28 inches. We infiltrated and filled, if you will, the 20-inch root zone. It slowly started to drain into the 20-inch profile. At 20 inch now we start to make a wetting front again. And then look at this here, another rain event. Increased a little bit more at 20 inches, increased our 28 inches quite rapidly. Why? Because we were already wet. We were already starting to wet that front. As soon as that moisture hit, it increased quickly. That increase right there is telling a story of how this soil is recharging, regenerating, preparing itself for another cropping season. My friends, this information is absolutely critical if you're going to develop a good, solid root system that's full of nutrition, that's going to have all the oxygen, all of the moisture, all of the elements of a healthy cropping system. You want to be able to see this happen. Now, in a region where we may have a tough soil structure and maybe we don't have the soil structure that we really desire, we're going to see that in this data. We're going to see places where maybe we have hard pans taking place. We're going to see information that's going to show us that water is not infiltrating through the profile. If the water's not making it through, you can be guaranteed that the roots will not make it through. That's something that we really have to watch carefully with this out-of-season data. Those are the things that are really getting me excited about this as we move forward. As I start really thinking about continuous root zone monitoring, And the value that it brings in as we watch that soil structure wet up, we watch that profile begin to recharge for another season, we're learning so much about timing, infiltration depth, application rate to depth, how to better time our irrigation events to get water to the profile levels that we need. All of these things are making us so much better at irrigation management, at plant management, at root structure management, soil health. All of these things are improving because we're watching this soil profile all year around. Now, the one last thing that I might add here is the value of not moving the probe. You see, when we have one location in the field that we're measuring this every year, every cropping cycle, that one location gives us the ability to make structural improvements. It gives us the ability to make improvements in that profile. And even though we're not seeing it in other places, when we focus on improving this one place and we track the one place, because we never move it, we're seeing it year after year after year. We improve this one place and we keep doing the same practices all around the entire field. My friend, every improvement that you see here, you're going to start seeing everywhere else. That is exciting to me. But pulling the probe out and then putting it back in another year, we miss all of this. As you saw in the last video, and I'm going to show you here again, when probes are sitting on the shelf, they have no value. They don't help you. They don't help your farmers. They don't help the agronomists. They don't help make money when they're sitting on the shelf. This is just crazy to me when there's an option out here to have your probes working for you all year round versus 3 or 4 months out of the year. Continuous root zone monitoring is a game changer. Continuous root zone monitoring is equipping us to help farmers make profit faster, more consistently, and in ways we've never, ever imagined. So put continuous root zone monitoring to work in your operation, and let's start learning what you can see. Let's start learning what you can find out to take your farmers to the next level of profit. God bless. I'll see you in the next video.